Welcome to our newest episode. It's your co-host, Rissy, right?
Hey.
And yours truly, Kaninja. So, Rissy, why can't people communicate? I'm just going to go right into it.
I don't know, because I literally had a situation where I was direct with somebody, and like it's at dinner, I was direct, go home a couple days, and they're on the phone talking about, the way you did it made me feel. I'm like, huh? Like, but I was right. But you said you were fine.
Yes. Exactly. The thing is, Breakroom Buddies, I guess a little background. We're dealing with some, issues. So we talk to people, or we get information from people, and they say one thing, and then we find out later on that it's a completely different thing. And either the two people did not communicate so they can effectively communicate to us, or they did not communicate back to us when we had a conversation, and then all of a sudden they have feelings, an epiphany of feelings 3 days later. And it's like, oh, by the way, I felt some sort of ways when you said this 3 days before.
And misinterpreted you, by the way.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you made me feel, I'm like, so did I say that? And they're like, no. Yeah, communication with these people it's just sucking. It's sucking right now. And I feel like with everything going on in the world, communication is key. They say it all the time. This week was rough, Breaking Buddies. So our communication this week we experienced together was our parental communication. Both me and Kaninja, we both come from a 2-parent home. So we do have a, what they say, like an actual listed dad and an actual listed mom. That is how our household is set up. That's the house that we came from.
Right.
And yes, there are benefits as to other family structures. There are all benefits, pros and cons. But this week, sometimes you forget that your parents are still two different people. And I feel like sometimes for people who are like, oh, 2-parent home and stuff like that, there's still two different people. They just had a common goal, which is us, or whatever their goals were. But it still doesn't erase their individuality, their individual personalities, because they're two different people coming as one. And communication by those parentals is very, very difficult. It seems simple, but no, it's not. Let me give us an example, Kaninja, because this is it.
So basically, an example from this week was, my parental units were on vacation, and which was awesome, great for them. I'm happy for them. And so they, I did something for them as a favor while they were on vacation, and they did something for me as a favor. They ended up getting certain sheets from Caraloha, and that's what I wanted. So I was like, oh, thank you so much. I owe you X amount of money. They owe me an X amount of money because of the favor I did for them. And so basically my dad tells me, okay, well, we got the sheets for you. This is how much it was. And we got you this color. Awesome. Fantastic. I already sent my mom, because it came from my mom. I already sent my mom the money, subtracting the amount of the money that they did for me for the favor and all that, or that I did them for the favor. And then I get a text from my mom telling me a different amount of money that I owe for those sheets, and that it was a different color. So now I'm confused, because the last time I checked, they're both on the same vacation. And they should have talked to each other and let me know. So I was like, fine. I was trying to make it good, make it easy. I was like, fine, I just owe you, this excess amount, whatever the case. But I'm like, why didn't you guys talk to each other? Like, why did you guys give me different information, on this? Because I had one impression on the amount and color on the other, on one, and then you tell me something else. For me, that throws me off completely. So why can't you guys talk to each other? I love them.
That is a real question, Berkeley. Why don't y'all talk to each other?
Yes.
Before you get on the same page before you talk to us kids.
Right. I mean,
children.
Exactly. I mean, typically they say that as parents, you need to be aligned on the same page when you're raising children. That does not change when we are out of the house and adults, because that still confuses us like crazy if you're not aligned. And especially another example in the past, like I would tell my mom something that, what's going on. And then she's like, okay, why don't you call your father and tell him? And I'm like, but you live with him. Well, why can't you?
Why?
She's just like, oh, well, he would like to hear from you. And I'm like, okay, that's one side, which is not like, of course, I would love to talk to my dad, but hey, I'm telling you this, you should communicate and translate the information to my dad so that you guys are on the same page. So I don't know why. I don't know why the communication stops at either one of the units and does not connect at the end.
Oh no, there's been times where I had to go to my parents and my mom said, oh, okay, someone's there at the house. No one is there.
Right.
They live close enough where I wasn't pissy, but I was like, so no one's here? But I told you.
Right.
Or someone will be like, well, no one knew. How does no one know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
No one? Like, it's oh my goodness. Like it's like I had a situation, and it wasn't really parent to parent, but my parent was involved.
Yeah.
Where it's something with I have siblings, so it was something with my sister. I'm not sure, for whatever reason. I don't know why my sister did not reach out to me earlier about something. But instead of her reaching out, she waited a few days, and my mother took it upon herself to communicate to me about what the sister had. And it pissed me off because I was just like, because the information my mom was giving was actually incorrect. Didn't know that at the time. But she just knew it. So I was just like, so you're trying to tell me I'm trying to get my facts back. She's like, yes. So I'm like, it's a no. I don't like this. It's a no. I don't like it. Talk directly. My sister directly called me. Different story.
Yes.
And I was just like, well, she took it upon herself. You know what, parents? You don't communicate enough for us, but then you guys try to to decipher. Yeah. To try to like, I'm gonna do this. I'll be the one. Right. And it mess up.
Yeah, exactly. Or they insert their own narrative into communications. And then when you actually go to the source, like you mentioned, it's completely different. So now you're creating a situation that could have been alleviated altogether if you were just translate the information. That's all we need.
Yeah. But like you said, the buck stopped with there. Like I'll if I tell my mother something and then I tell my dad, like, hey dad, and he's like, oh no, I didn't.
Right. Exactly.
Like, so, what? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Okay, right. No drama. This is a situation where I'm like, communicate, and my dad is like, I don't know, right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But check this out. My mom's upset with me because I taught her something crazy. The whole house knows. Mm-hmm. The whole house knows. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yeah. So it's easy to communicate something negative that's happening across the entire family. But when you just want a simple communication of plans or just disseminating information that's neutral information, it's like, oh, it's not interesting enough for me to tell other people this information. And so now plans are like up in the air. Like you don't even know what's going on. But hey, let me just break something or have an attitude so that on top of the information I need you to disseminate, so that maybe you'll disseminate it. But no, guess what? All they'll do is disseminate information about the attitude And that's the actual thing you want them to tell people.
And I'm just like, you're in an endless, vicious circle.
Yes.
As you can tell with our faces expression, we are currently trucking through 2 different parental communication where you're like, you're talking to one, what you said, same cruise, same vacation, same house, both same house, and you're like, what?
Exactly. And let's start like, I don't know, it leads people to assume a few different things. Either you were not listening to me, where you don't even know the information I'm telling you to disseminate to or to translate to your partner, or you just don't even want to talk to your partner. This is another concern. Or you're maybe too lazy to talk to them. I don't know. It's not.
I don't know. We're the kids. We don't know. We don't know, parents. So parents, break your buddy parents, explain to us this.
Yes. But let's say, on the other hand, if, me and a significant other or, my sibling and their, spouses, if they're not communicating to them and it affects my parents, then they're like, why can't you guys communicate to each other? We learn by example. And the example does not stop at 18 or does not stop when we move out. The example continues throughout life. As everyone knows, you are a parent for life. You are a child for life. The example also goes through on that. And so it is a bit frustrating. Of course, Rissy and I both love our parents dearly, but it is frustrating because this week has been trying.
Yeah. Especially when they want to insert yourself into sibling stuff.
Yes.
That could be a part too, because that's a whole nother. I feel like with siblings, when it comes down to siblings, parents don't understand that as a parent, you have a connection because these are all your children. But I don't have a connection with a sibling in that sense. Like on paper, yes, blood, you may not, live in the same household, whatever. But other than that, there's nothing that would behoove me to create a relationship. It's just y'all.
Right.
Y'all want a relationship.
Yeah. Exactly. And as a different note, can we talk about why parents, I've had situations where my parents will ask, another one of us, me and my siblings, something like, can you do something or can you meet us somewhere or whatever plans, right? And then the sibling or myself will be like, okay, let me ask my significant other or my spouse. And they're just like, why you got to ask them? And it's like, why you got to do that? Because we want to communicate, or at least tell them what's going on. And maybe we don't have to ask them, but maybe we just want to tell them what's going on. And they're like, oh, then they'd be fine. Oh, okay. So now I'm understanding why we're not getting the alignment of communication from you guys, because you guys are living okay, whatever happens to me, if I communicate or not communicate, it's fine because they'll just go along with it. And so my mom will make plans, for my dad, and my dad would be like, what's going on? And my mom's like, yeah, this is what you're doing. And he's like, oh. So he doesn't know either.
No, either. This is what you're doing. Oh, okay.
Okay. And so it's kind of like a catch-22 because, maybe that's the way that they can get things done quickly. But it hurts the kids because we now there's gaps in our knowledge and our information. So we don't know what to do next, and like Rissy and I, we need to know what's happening and we need to know specifics. So for us to say yes or no to plans and for things to go smoothly on our part, because we also got a life to figure out. And if you don't give us dates, times, what have you, what's going on with ample amount of time to prepare, you're not going to see us. Not. So yes.
It's just a breath. Okay, it's just because something about with parental communication, it doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? Like how your parents communicate, that's where it is. It unfortunately it doesn't matter how old or what their intentions are. For whatever, they fall back to their basics. They always do.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, as the kids, you know, I've had coworkers tell me about their parents, how they're like, yeah, my parents, that's just what it is. It is what it is. I'm like, but it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And like, they don't improve. You just adjust better.
Yes. Yes. And the thing is like, depending on how close you are to your parents, you know, they can also influence you as you get older. You know, because I'm extremely close to my parents. Like I am extremely close. Like they're my best friends. Like I'm extremely close to them. So what they do still has an influence on how I act or react. If I didn't have enough introspection or emotional intelligence in myself that I have been, trying to grow throughout these years, I would be doing the same thing that frustrates me, and the thing is like they do have influence. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm X amount of years old, I'm out of the house, all that stuff. They have influence on me. And like, just like Rissy, she's my best friend. She's gonna have influence on me because I care about them. And so thank goodness for introspection and emotional intelligence.
Self-awareness, man.
Yes, because they won't change, and as we get older, we won't change, and that's just unless you're gonna really put that effort into changing, at one point you are who you are at the center of your core, and that is it. You can adjust, but you still will always go back to your default. And if your default is not communicating to each other, it is what it is. It's just frustrating. And Rissy and I had a week of it this week.
Oh my goodness gracious. And then they turn around like nothing, like it's you though. It's you. Yes. Like, why don't you understand? You're just like,
why can't you call your sister? Why can't you call your father? You're telling me this information. I could tell them. Or I can just say, okay, thank you for telling me. Now you can disseminate to the rest of the family of the information you want to tell. We have group messages. We can just do a text message on the group message.
Not enough. It's not enough.
No. And then, when you bring it up to one of them and they're like, well, I never heard about that.
Oh no. That's
like the other just told me 3 days ago. There was a situation where, my one of my siblings was coming down to visit and no one told. Like my parents figured this all out. They told me, but no one told my other sibling. And then so I just happened to have a conversation with my other sibling that was never told the day before, the other one was going to come down to visit. And I was like, hey, are you going to come over? Because, sibling 2 is coming. I never, this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
No.
And mind you, this sibling sees my parents more than I do in person. And I'm like, what? No, there was reasons behind it, but I'm not going to go into that. But still, why what's going on?
Straight as face.
Yes, I just want to know why. I just want to know why, and maybe it just does not go through. Maybe it's just not a thought, But it definitely is frustrating.
So stupid because you're over here like, wait a minute. So y'all can go and call me about, hey, did you see the news about an actor that we never heard of passed away? Can you believe it? And I'm like, no, I don't think it was my generation. Well, yeah, they died today. Did you get gas? Yeah, I got it yesterday. Yeah, you got to get gas because you're like, I got it yesterday. Like, like just.
Yes, exactly. And then you don't find out, in a hypothetical situation, you don't find out until a week later. Oh, by the way, your sister gave birth last week. But you had time to tell me about this actor I never heard about died. But you couldn't have told me that my sister, gave birth.
That's what they do. It'd be like I don't know how they compartmentalize things. Because for me, it's like I don't. It's like an enigma. Like to me, if I'm picking my baby and she got schoolwork, in my mind, I'll figure out where she's in when I open it up. Right. My mom is in deep conversation about, well, we did this, we did that, we did this and that. And I'm like, where her stuff at? Oh yeah, I'll say something. She's like, yeah, it's not working. Like, no, yeah, that's what happened. I was all this detail, right? Yeah. So I happened to stay there like an additional 2.5 hours. Like I was out in 2 hours, which I don't know why it takes 2 hours, but whatever. Apparently her tablet wasn't working. It hadn't been working for a while, apparently. Okay? For a while. Never heard about it. But I got straight into detail of and I'm like, these are just splitting hairs. It goes into the big umbrella of schoolwork.
Right, exactly. And so if there was an issue with the tablet, it should have said there's an issue with this tablet for 2 hours. Like that's priority information there. Like let's disseminate.
Yeah, no.
One thing I've realized too is that with parents, they assume that the other parent is going to tell you. And then, so it ends up being where no parent tells you because they assume the other parent tells you. And they're like, but, he should have told you. Like, he already told you. No, she should have told you. No. Okay, this is another alignment that we need to communicate on who's going to tell who. Hey, you tell me twice, great. If one parent tells me, the other parent tells me, cool, now I'm aligned.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that versus assuming. I'm sorry, we're parent bashing right now. So that's what this is. This is parent bashing. So you want to put it in the up here, down here, do this, Kaninja. We're parent bashing today because oh my goodness.
Yes. And the thing is, I am gonna give some caveats. Every child has frustrations with their parent. Does that mean that they are bad parents? No. We are not saying that they are bad parents in any way, shape, or form. We're not saying that they are horrible at all. Every child has frustrations of what their parent does, and this is something that Rissy and I have found as a similarity between our families, of what has happened. And we're assuming that other people have experienced the same thing. Again, our parents are amazing and awesome as they are. We just have frustrations with them like we do with any other people. So we want to put that caveat on there is saying they're great. We just are frustrated right now at the moment. But tomorrow we're going to be like, hey, you're my best friend.
You said tomorrow?
Maybe an hour from now. Maybe. I don't know.
We'll tomorrow, see. Maybe next week. Homie. Next week. Next week. Okay, because this is over here where you're just like,
yes, exactly. But anyway, we are almost out of time. This is a little bit shorter because again, it was just more of a venting session than anything else, and hopefully you all have gotten a sense of similarity from it. But before we get into what we ask of you guys to give us, we're going to go into our final thoughts about just communication and alignment with, our parental units. So, Rissy, go right ahead.
Sure. So, sorry, hold on. Oh, yeah, we have a new social media person. So she told me to hold this. This is part of my 30 seconds.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you. I'm gonna put it back up. We're gonna do it again in a little bit, okay? Almost over my 30 seconds. But one thing that Kaninja did mention is this. parental communication does not end when they're 18, does not end at a certain age. It doesn't end, it doesn't stop after a certain milestone. Be continuous. All that work, that hard. That's why I guess I'm more confused about anything, is because my parents were always, in my eyes, seem to be on the same page all the time. All the time. And to go from that image that, you know, the standard they set for us, to now it's just like, it's literally, you're literally talking to two different people that just knew each other that knew you forever. It's like, huh? So yeah, just yes, that's my number one thing. Please, whatever message you guys have with communication, keep it. That's my 30 seconds.
Yeah. Thank you, Rissy. And exactly. I mean, it really helps just to keep that consistency with us, you know. And again, it doesn't, you know, for us, we love our parents, you know, so of course we'll forgive them in due time. You know, I usually forgive my parents for a lot of things, so it will definitely be in probably an hour or in tomorrow or whatever the case. And so, but yes, I mean, it really does confuse us, and it creates more of a strife or a sense of tension between the parents and the child as well. And it really kind of gets us to a point where we're like, okay, then we're just not even going to say anything, or we're just not even going to go, because it's an extra amount of stress and frustration that we're already dealing with, because we're dealing with starting out. We're in the beginning stages of adulting. Our parents are already kind of in the motion. They already know and all that stuff. They're used to that, but we're in the beginning stages of our adulting. So we are still dealing from the growing pains of what we have to go through. So an extra sense of frustration and stress, we just kind of say, you know what, I'm not even going to deal with this. If it's going to be like this, I'm just going to rip it out for the time being so I can relax. So that is just kind of what's happening here. But again, we were just venting. This has nothing to do with really looking down on our parents. You know, it's just venting as children do. So, so with that, that was our final thoughts. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and make sure you share as well. And also make sure to follow on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. That's where we usually put our updates. And make sure you let us know where you get your frustrations. Do your parents also have a gap in communication sometimes? Or do you have that with your significant other that you haven't realized until now? You know, all that stuff. So with that, bye, Break Room Buddies.
Bye.
See you next time. Hey, Break Room Buddies. So Rissy and I do have an announcement for you.
Bum, bum, bum.
So we are going to be going on a break from the time of this recording to about the beginning of May. We're going to be doing some reevaluation of our podcast and things that we're doing. And so we wanted to let you guys know that we will not have any postings on our YouTube channel or on our Spotify or anything along those lines until May or so. We are going to continue posting on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can continue seeing updates of where we are and anything new that's coming up or anything along those lines. But we did want to let you guys know we are going on a break. We're going to reevaluate in May, and then you guys will be hearing from us at that point. So there you go. Rissy, anything? Okay. So with that, again, bye, Break Room Buddies.
Bye.
See you next time.